Alright, welcome in everyone to Shooting Game Weekly, episode 143 with Illumination Laser. This is going to be kind of a unique and rare game on the Sharp X68000 computer. And we're going to be checking out a one-credit clearance scoring run from the guest of this episode, Emuser, who's here. Welcome again, Emuser.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Always awesome to have you, and you actually have the only clear of this game on the internet, and so it's kind of like this is like an exclusive or something here.
Yeah, I tried to look for anything else, but given this game's very, very strange history and lack of exposure, I'm pretty sure that I still have the only video of a clear of this game, at least on YouTube.
So that's really neat. And then I'm being co-hosted by GG Maximo is also here. So what's up, Maximo?
Yo, what's up, everybody?
What up?
So I'll just let you speak a bit about the history and kind of what's the deal with this game, Emuser.
So this is based on one forum post, a Nico video post, and a YouTube post, all sharing more or less the same story. But the history behind Illumination is very scattered from its origins. So basically, the author behind this game, who we call Terra, made Illumination Laser in 1994. And then once that happened, there wasn't really a lot of word on it. I can't find much about this game on the internet until fast forward to like 2009 or so. Somebody posts a video about this game on Nico Video, and then somebody else copies it to YouTube. So it kind of brings light to this game. Oh, this game was made 15 years ago, but here's the first video of it ever. And then that's about all we get for this game around that time. So fast forward 5 years to 2014, there's a huge X6800 lot of games being sold. And one of the games featured in the lot was actually a copy of Illumination Laser, which is very, very rare, as I've probably said a couple of times already. So multiple people pitched in for this lot, and from what I understand, it was about $1,000 for was it like 24 games or something?
Wow. And
people pitched in for a group effort just because of Illumination Laser as the standout title, and they wanted to emulate it. And a AstralAlgorithm in chat actually says that it went over $1,000.
Wow.
And they were going to emulate it because, this is a rare thing. We have to emulate this and all that stuff. But as soon as word about this got out, Terra actually stepped forward and told them to stop and please don't do this, but I'll raise you with an extra surprise. So in 2014, shortly after this lot happened and Terra popped up again, he actually released an updated version of this game called Illumination Laser Rebuild Edition.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's really crazy.
So yeah, if you can emulate X6800 games, then technically Terra made this free little thing with an updated, I don't know what the differences are between the original and the rebuild edition, but I'm pretty sure it has like more settings for like slowdown effects and difficulty options or something.
The fact that he's here, I mean, I'm assuming he had still all the assets and like all the stuff for the game, like to make a new version, like after so many years. That just seems so strange.
It's really crazy. And there's some rumors behind the fact that this game was sort of used as a tech demo of sorts for his. Like, he did release it, but I don't think it was a very big thing. But most importantly to him, from like word of mouth I've heard, is that it sort of showed off his technical prowess at the time, and he was able to get like work in other game fields, I believe, for a few years. I've heard that he had an association with Treasure at some point, but I can't really confirm or deny anything.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe after we release this video, he'll make another update or something.
Yeah, it would definitely be more interesting to get like his input on it or his word on it,
or something like
because
that. Yeah.
there's really not a lot of concrete evidence behind this game.
So that's a pretty interesting history here, and then I suppose that's pretty much sums it up there.
So yeah, there are only like those three major chunks in terms of a history you can create for this game. Everything else is basically dead air.
So that makes it pretty cool. And then the game itself, suppose we can jump into that pretty quick here because this is going to be a 54-minute replay.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a lengthy one. Does it have 2 loops, or is it just one way through, or what? What's the deal?
So this is a 1-loop game.
Okay, that is it's a long game. Long shmup.
Yep. Pretty difficult one too, actually.
Okay, so let's prepare to get into the replay, and we can just talk about whatever as we get into it and all that.
Sounds good to me.
And I am actually going to be just playing the OST over the video because the sound effects said were a little bit too high. So let's do it that way. If you think that's all right.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Okay. Anyway, we're gonna begin the replay here. I'll do a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, go. I suppose I'll actually have some of the game audio going a little bit here, just to give people an idea, but...
Yeah. The sound effects are pretty loud, though. You can change the settings if you're familiar with, like, the emulator and stuff, or, like, the program for, like, adjusting the volume and sound.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that at the time, though, so... Yeah. So I'll kind of... on my original video for this, I made some annotations as well, describing like the basics behind the game. And I'll kind of loosely follow those along the way too. But the first stage is a pretty short stage, you know, of course, throwing like light waves at you and making you get a good feel for the game, some basics. And the objective behind Illumination Laser is that you see this little ball that follows your ship. All the enemies in this game shoot a type of laser that varies depending on its color and the trail length. For example, I'll go over all the different laser type colors real quick. So blue is a standard laser that shoots forward, while red is a stronger piercing version of a forward laser. Yellow is a homing laser, while green is a stronger piercing version of the same homing laser. And pink is a search laser, with purple being the stronger version of that.
So are you mixing the lasers when you're absorbing all of them, or are you like switching back and forth between the types?
So when when the orb absorbs a laser, it'll retain the trait of the last laser it absorbed.
Okay, that's cool.
It's interesting because say that you absorb a full stack of purple lasers, and then you absorb like one yellow laser. It'll only shoot a little bit of yellow before it reverts back to blue. So you have to absorb a lot of yellows for the previous blues absorbed to be completely nullified. And
so that way it's not like switching all the time then.
Right.
Okay.
It's a good thing because you're trying to stock up on a specific laser, but then you accidentally touch a blue laser or something, then your previous stock doesn't get completely annihilated.
Yeah.
It's just a temporary setback. But since this game is pretty long and difficult, you actually want to make sure you spend time in the first 3 levels to get as many points as you can, so you get multiple extends. And the way the extends work in this game is that every 50,000 points, these little orbs that will be dropping from the screen, you see every once in a while, every 50,000 points you get, an orb will drop. And it increases the counter that shows under your lives by 1. And when you drop enough orbs, when the 8th orb drops in a cycle, then it'll be like a rainbow colored orb and you can pick it up for a 1-up. If your shield on your ship is gone, however, then getting 50,000 points will restore your shield instead of drop an orb.
Oh, that's cool how that works. I see
So
it
I've been
flashing
taking
right
my time
now.
on this boss to just destroy all of its parts with lasers and get more points. Because anytime you destroy something with lasers, you get 2 times the point value.
Yeah, I like how you dissected the boss there. That looked neat.
Yeah, I got hit once during it, so I lost my auto shield. But in the long run, it wasn't like a big enough mistake to restart the run, so I just ran with it. So, yeah, lasers are an extremely important part of this game because your main shot is not very powerful, and the pattern's kind of weird. So if you're trying to like hit a pinpoint target, it's difficult to be accurate sometimes just because of the way the shots arch to the sides.
Now, so you have a separate button to shoot the orb then?
Right. So you have a button where you can shoot just the Vulcan or your standard shot, and there's another button where you shoot both. But there's no way to shoot just lasers.
I see. And then what about the bar in the bottom left? How's that filling up exactly, or how's that? Are you expending the laser energy then?
Right. So anytime you absorb a laser, that bar will increase, and the color of the bar will indicate what your current type of weapon is.
Gotcha.
So yellow being yellow laser, blue being blue laser, and onward.
And you
do have to be mindful of what you just absorbed, and like you knowing what you had before, you may have absorbed just one laser of a color you don't want. Because if you look carefully at times, I'll be on one bar, but they may alternate between a few different colors just because of the order they've been entering the orb.
Okay, that makes sense, I think.
Yeah, it makes a little more sense when you've like played the game and figured out like sort of how everything comes together. But the main scoring gimmick is to, of course, use your lasers to destroy stuff, but most importantly, the cores of all the enemies you see, which are these red. I don't know what kind of shape they are.
It's like a ruby.
Yeah, that's a good way of calling it. These these cores that look like rubies on these enemies, if you can destroy those with lasers, you get basically the most points out of like pretty much anything in the game, especially on a boss. But when you're shooting at these enemies, if you dissect all of their like bits that surround the core, and the core is exposed like completely, it'll eventually turn blue and try to run away.
Is it worth like more points to kill it when it's blue, or is it that's just indicating it's getting out of there?
Yeah, when it turns blue, it's basically indicating it's getting the hell out of Dodge. And at that point, unless you're already about to destroy it, there's not much you can do to stop it.
It is cool how it looks like every enemy has segments, and every enemy has a ruby. Do they not?
Right. And you actually do run into like quite a varied number of enemies in this game. Like it's sort of it's kind of like Choren Shah in terms of like the background's the same throughout the whole game, but compared to Choren Shah, the variety of enemies you see in this game is way higher. Like even though they've used the same bits and pieces, it's like Legos or something in the shmup world. Making all these different kind of enemies is one way I can describe it, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely has a unique visual presentation, I feel.
Yeah. For being the second boss in this game, this boss is like actually sort of a tricky like wall breaker or wall for beginners. Just the way that its bullets come out and you're kind of in its face sometimes.
Yeah.
You kind of have to get used to dealing with its 3 main attacks. But once you figure out how to deal with all 3 of them, he's not terrible.
We spinning around.
Yeah.
This is probably like the boss that tells you like you got to use your orb effectively, because I see like that boss does like that one spinny attack where it just releases those bolts in a circle.
Yeah, you can't really do anything particularly special to milk this boss, just because of all the different lasers kind of disrupting your momentum all the time. So you can't like, you don't have any piercing lasers that you can really grab on this boss except like extreme yin, so you can't really milk it for very much, other than to just fight it normally.
Oh, okay.
Looks like you did bust it up pretty good though, still.
Yeah. Whenever you're like trying to score on certain things, green laser's pretty much the best overall because it pierces and homes, so you don't have to worry about aiming very much.
Nice.
Is the only way to get a shield through the orb mechanic then?
Right. So
Okay.
the only way to get a shield back is to hit the 50,000 point mark whenever your shield is not active.
Okay.
Or if you die, then you come back with a shield.
Oh, nice. Okay, so get 2 hits.
Yeah.
Cool. Kind of nice.
So it seems it is a bit forgiving, but later on you'll come to realize that
Whoa.
that 2-hit mechanic every life is just enough to make this game beatable. Like, if it weren't for the fact that you spawned with a shield every time you died, I don't know if I could have beaten this game. And that's, I guess it's a warning that I would give to anyone in this game. Like, the first half of this game is really not bad. You're basically just preparing for the second half of the game. And
With
part
the
of me
with
wonders
getting
if,
lives
like,
and all that.
yeah.
Wow.
The second half of the game is what makes me wonder if, like, that's part of the reason he never released it very much originally or something. Because there are some questionable decisions in the later half of the game. But you'll see later.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. So, I don't think there's actually too much notable about this stage other than, like, the boss at the end of it. Oh, this part here, like red, purple, green, when you see these line of enemies, you just want to delay a bit and try to get a bunch of the lasers so you can pierce all the enemies for higher score.
So I'm guessing the enemies are always color-coded, like yellow enemies shoot yellow lasers, red ones shoot red. Is that consistent?
Yes. So anytime you see an enemy of a certain color, it will shoot lasers that are that color. Except bosses are an exception to the rule. Bosses will do whatever. Well, let me think about that. No, never mind. Bosses are the same too. It's because if you think about the stage 2 boss, it was entirely blue the whole time, correct?
Yeah.
It'll shoot pods, however, explosive pods that will release bullet colors of its corresponding color. So whether it be the enemy, like, there's a certain type of thing that enemies will shoot from. Will it be like an explosive pod as we're seeing on these enemies? Or from a, what is it, like a pointed crystal bit, whatever we want to call it, that's attached to these enemies that shoot directly at us, like on these enemies. Whatever color those things are will be what type of laser comes out of it.
You want to remind us about what each type of laser, the properties are again?
Sure. So blue is just a standard forward shot, and red is the stronger version of a forward shot that will pierce. Yellow is a homing shot, and green is the same as yellow, but stronger with piercing. And pink is a search laser, with purple being the same, stronger in piercing. So there's 3 standard lasers, and then 3 stronger lasers that are stronger in pierce.
But not
for
homing.
this boss, homing, yellow and green.
Yellow and green are homing, okay.
Yeah, yellow's the standard, green's piercing. But for this boss, this is like a really lucrative boss. Like you can get a whole 1-up on this boss when you take your time on it. But to do that, you have to destroy these mirrors on its side first before you proceed. Because you need the red lasers to milk, like, to destroy, get a lot of points on everything. It's a fun boss to just get some extra points on.
By the way, do these bosses ever time out, or is it just infinite?
I have no idea, actually.
Okay.
There's the piercing.
Yeah. AstralAlgorithm in chat says they do timeout. I've never tried to time one out because actually, I should say like how I came to play this game in the first place.
Sure.
Kaiseru always challenged me with like random shmups to play. Plus, I've always liked to do that thing where I like to play obscure shmups and get like footage of things that are lacking footage. And he told me about Illumination Laser, and I was aware of it because of that old 2009 video. And he and another person helped me set up a build that like played the game. So then I proceeded to grind down this game and beat it within 72 hours afterward. So within that short 72 hours time period, I didn't bother trying to time out any of the bosses.
Sure.
But yeah, it was just funny because Kaiseru bet me I couldn't do it in a week. And then 48 hours later, like after he said that, I'm like, hey, guess what? He was just like, are you kidding me?
Good shit.
Yeah. I was surprised I did it so quickly because I had to like practice. I was credit feeding a whole lot the first 24 hours. And I was like, the second half of this game is just so overwhelming that I don't know if I can do this within a week.
They let you credit feed.
Yeah. Well, not exactly. If you continue, you restart the stage. And the most pro tip one can have is that you can't credit feed if you game over on stage 5 because you're not going to beat stage 5 at that point.
You need to be established with the lives and all that.
Yeah, stage 5 is the hardest stage in this game. But this is stage 4 right here. There's nothing particularly crazy about this stage until the boss. This is a pretty long stage too, so we have time to talk about random stuff too. I think it's like 8 minutes before the boss, once the stage starts.
Wow.
But this is basically the calm before the storm where everything starts going to hell in this game. And I've always felt like the soundtrack kind of follows like the mood of the game pretty well too, in terms of like where you are in the game versus like how much further you have to go. And this is like, in my opinion at least, this track just kind of has like a, like, you know, you've made quite a bit of distance in the journey already. And this is like your last moment to reflect on like what you've done and what's coming up before everything happens for real.
Yeah, I've been enjoying the music. It's really nice sounding.
Yeah. Oh. AstralAlgorithm in chat says he had a beta test version. He was a tester of the game. Wow, I didn't realize that.
Oh.
So, AstralAlgorithm, when you were saying that you're a tester, you mean like when the game was first being released? That's interesting.
Oh shit, we're unearthing these crazy details.
Yeah,
as we
this
speak.
game needs more. There needs to be more information about this game because it's very lacking right now.
Oh man, that sound effect when you take a hit. I think that's what that was, right? That fart noise?
Yeah, you'll hear that a lot pretty soon.
Nice.
And you can tell the intensity's really stepping up. But like these enemies come out shooting fast blue lasers and just swarming you. If you don't take them out quickly, then they'll just overrun you, and you can't do anything to stop them once they overrun you. Oh my god, he worked directly with Terra.
What?
This is an interesting development.
Damn.
Jeez.
Didn't expect that, did you?
Man, we should have had this guy on the episode.
Yeah, I guess so. We should just... Yeah, Astral, you want to come on and talk about this game right now?
Yeah, or like a Q&A, like...
We can pull you in. I think you're on. I think you're on the Discord. If not,
he doesn't have a mic.
Okay.
Aw.
Sorry, he'll give us a lowdown as we go through here. That's pretty cool, though.
We need a Q&A from this guy at some point.
Yeah, feel free to divulge any details and whatnot.
Because if there's one thing this game needs, it's definitely like a Q&A. Because, like,
you mean
this was made in
more regarding the
1994.
history?
For 1994, this game looks really impressive. So
I'd say so, yeah.
But it didn't take off. Like, if this game was a bigger, like, wider known game in 1994, I think it would have blown some heads off.
Yes. Like we didn't talk too much about the Sharp X68K computer. Do you what? I don't know a ton about it. You want to speak a little bit about the system itself, or
that
or
too? Like, I personally don't know much about it either.
It is a computer.
The reason I knew about it before Illumination Laser is because of Choran Shah. Like,
yeah,
that's as far as my history goes with it.
Like, basically back in the day, like, Sharp made like high-end a variety of computers, but they made like a really good 8-bit computer called like the X1 back in '83, and basically the X68000 is like a kind of continuation of that, where they just pumped in like custom graphics chips that allowed it to have like, even at release, like an almost arcade perfect port of Gradius 1, and then it was used as like the test bed for like several arcade dev systems such as the CPS1. So that goes to show like the system had ridiculously good graphics capabilities at the time of its release, and that they had like several models that were like even more improved compared to the original version. So I think like later on in its lifespan, it got like a lot of Dojin support, which is why you get stuff like this, which is like ridiculously good looking for a '94 game.
Yeah, the last enemy that was multicolored, if you didn't get a purple laser to use immediately on this fight will be twice as long. So that multicolor enemy is basically your sign to get ready for this part.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my jaw kind of dropped when I first saw this part, because I was just like, this game turned into a hori extremely, like, suddenly. But not a hori. A particularly evil, annoying, long, drawn-out section, might I add.
It's Arkanoid. Yeah.
This boss was kind of a mistake, in my opinion, because you have to deal with it in a very specific way, or you will probably lose resources on it, and you can't afford to lose any if you can help it.
It's really different.
The whole time, oh, great, yeah. Speaking of which, I died. You can basically only afford one death before stage 5, or you don't really stand much of a chance.
And clearing.
Is the main consequence just losing that life, or is there any other repercussions of death?
Oh, no. I believe that you lose your laser stock, but I haven't played it recently enough to actually know for sure or not. I guess we'll see soon, though. Yeah. This boss has 2 shooters and 2 wall bits, like bits that will shoot walls. And you have to deal with them in a specific manner. Like if you take out the 2 shooter bits, but not the wall bits, then it'll start doing walls from both sides and create walls, like series of walls that you cannot dodge because they're too thin, like too like close to each other to have enough time to get through them. If you deal with only the 2 shooters, if you leave the 2 shooters or destroy the wall bits, then it basically turns into a bullet hell.
Yeah.
So you have to destroy a shooter, 1 wall bit, and then the other shooter, and then kill it. And now the game stops messing around and hell begins.
Oh shit.
And just in case no one has noticed yet, the scrolling for the background has gotten significantly faster since the game has started.
Okay, yeah.
And for some reason in this stage, it kind of becomes apparent. Because the longer you play this game, the background gets faster slowly, but it feels like it really comes out on this stage.
Ooh.
And these enemies will just get right in your face and go to the bottom and don't care about anything.
Damn. Bum
and
rush.
then you just,
Crazy.
yeah, and then you just start dying.
The annotation there.
Yeah. Because I've died every single time in that part and I have no answer for it.
Crazy. Yeah, they really turned it up. Maybe this is. Would you say like maybe this is where like the quote unquote second loop begins?
Yeah, this is gets way the stakes are raised way up in this stage.
It looks so much crazier.
The music doesn't really help. Well, the music kind of sets the mood for that as well.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell, like, you're jumping into something more serious so far than what you've seen so far. And all of the stages from 4 onward are actually pretty long, so it becomes a bit of an endurance test as well. Like, I think all the stages average like 6 minutes at this point, before the bosses.
Wow. That's pretty long, I gotta say.
Yeah, I think the next stage only averages 6 minutes because of slowdown, though. Yeah.
I'll have to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell just by looking at the enemies that they are shooting like way faster bullets than before. Or lasers, I should say, in this case. Every bullet in this game is actually a laser.
No, yeah.
Except your own Vulcan shot.
It's sweet how the orb protects you, and while you're getting protected, it gets power. Like that's just simple and cool. Plus, you're aiming it around.
Yeah, AstralAlgorithm makes a good point in that this game is such a mystery. The original soundtrack for this game existed long before the game really surfaced with any footage.
Damn.
Like, look at that. They are literally in my face.
It's like point blank.
Like, they literally ram you if you can't kill them. So, yeah. Like, that's a huge jump from, like, any of the stages before where they didn't really do that. But here, they will fly off screen through the bottom of the screen if they have to. Then you start seeing things like where they're just throwing themselves at you, core and all.
Boo 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 boo. Love that extend noise.
Yeah. So my death count on the stage so far is like 3 deaths. I believe. Yeah, 3 times.
I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah, we are halfway through the game now.
crazy.
Yeah.
There's like 3 other stages after this too.
Yep.
Whoa!
Jeez.
Yeah, you have to become a bit like adapt, or what do you call it? You have to learn to like aim your orb to shoot like to one side while your Vulcan deals with another side on that part back there. And this is the first appearance of what I call a claw enemy, which is something you'll see a few times in like stage 7, I believe. It becomes sort of a more common enemy. But in this case, it marks as like this unique enemy you see before the boss.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a hand.
And
Or a chair.
yeah, you can't really kill it reliably, so you just do whatever. And then the 5th boss comes, and the 5th boss is RNG simulator redefined. Because the reason this boss is awful is because it spawns little minions, and they are very resilient, and they fly all about the screen randomly. And when I mean randomly, any part of the screen is not safe. At all.
Great.
So they're firing at you, the boss is firing at you, they're flying around. Yeah. I've never had a good time with this boss. I've never, ever seen this boss and beat it without losing a life somewhere. It doesn't happen. For me anyways.
It's just so unexpected when they do that fast stream.
Yeah. They do follow a pattern, but depending on where they're positioned, it still might be kind of hard to deal with it. Especially when they're like right in your face and they just kamikaze you. And if you don't kill them, more of them continue to spawn. That's the thing. You can't ignore them completely. It's a constant battle. You can't ignore the boss because these things keep spawning. You can't ignore them because then the boss will keep spawning them. But once you destroy like all the bits on the boss, it'll stop spawning extra enemies, and it gets angry.
Oh.
Wow.
So that's stage 5. I've lost half my lives there. And
Yeah, you're in a kid.
stage 6 is kind of a jab to the jaw, I guess, because it takes the rules of this game and kind of turns them upside down for one stage. So I'll call these what I refer to as like crystal enemies. They have a grayish appearance. When they have grayish layers on their bits, they reflect your lasers. So you have to weaken them first with your shot before you shoot them with lasers. Or the lasers will bounce off and do nothing.
Can you reabsorb the reflected laser?
If it's reflected, then no.
Ah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Watch your back.
Watch your back.
Crackle.
Keep your finger on the trigger, rookie.
So when I got to this stage for the first time, my jaw kind of like was wide open again.
Jaw status.
Oh my god, what is happening? Because like the music and like all the debris flying around on the screen, and like
This is sweet.
there's this thing is creating walls in the middle of the stage so you can't shoot through.
The debris
And you
is
have
really
to aim
neat.
your orb perfectly at these things coming at you, or they're gonna hit you.
Oh shit! Oh, that dodge! Oh man, that was some Ketsui dodges right there.
Because of the homing, you have to just veer to a side and just pray you don't get hit by them.
I love the music in this part. This is cool.
Yeah. I really like it too.
And the
me,
background is
definitely
going
builds up
really
like-
fast now, isn't it?
Yeah. To me, this music builds up like a theme where it's like you're literally very close to like the very end, and you're diving into something you don't know, like something foreign to you. Like there's something bigger ahead than what you can comprehend.
Yeah, I like
in
that.
a way. That's the feeling I always got from this stage. Especially with these crystal enemies. They kind of flip the game upside down and force you to do something completely different.
Yeah, there's such a build-up, isn't there, with how lengthy it is.
Yeah.
It's almost like building suspense or something. Like it was so tame in the first half in comparison to. Ooh.
Yeah. Death count on this stage, I think, is 2. I'm losing track already.
Oh man, those enemies.
Yeah. There are some moments where it was truly a miracle that I didn't like lose a life or something. Because like especially this part, like there are these 2 things you can't shoot through, but you're being shot at by these enemies.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like one enemy can just do so much havoc in this part.
And I like how it's slowing down too.
Yeah, the slowdown is worse depending on the settings you have for your game. Like, I think it's because like this is a rebuild edition and it's ran through an emulator. Then there's not as much slowdown as usual. So it would actually be worse than this.
That makes sense.
Worse as in more slowdown.
Yeah.
Because the machines like, can't handle all that.
Yeah.
As opposed to like in an EMU, you like add speed to CPU or something, so it won't have to deal with as much slowdown.
What emulator do you use to play this?
Oh man,
You remember?
I don't even remember what it's called. I haven't turned it on since I beat this
Maybe we
Which
can
is-
just figure it out later.
a while back. Like actually, almost a year and a half ago.
It's a good bit.
I think there's only like one major emulator for X6800 or X68000 though.
Probably. I think I tried one and it was like super robust. It was probably the one.
Yeah. The music is so close to just doing one perfect loop because it has a start and an end before it starts over for this stage, but it comes so close to being a perfect loop before the boss. But it briefly starts over and then the boss shows up, which is not as hard of a boss. It's faster to kill, but look at my lives at this point.
Dang, yeah.
Wow.
I had like 7 extra ones going into stage 5, and now I'm down to 1 extra one.
This is
Nice. Satisfying.
Yeah.
Damn. The explosions are so like intense sounding.
Yeah. Sound effects in this game are really well done, definitely.
Oh, it's just like making me nervous how big those crystals are.
I could go for this kill.
Yeah, last man scenario.
Last man.
Last man standing.
And now we are introduced to this game, another gimmick that this game wants to throw at us. Stage 7 introduces rainbow enemies. So the enemies, the lasers, everything except your own bar is rainbow colored, which is a standout problem for this game for reasons I'm sure you can figure out at this point.
It makes it like really hard.
You don't know what type of lasers the enemies are shooting at you unless you examine how they're behaving and whether or not they have a long trail or not. So remember at the very beginning of this replay, I mentioned that these stronger piercing shots have a longer laser trail.
Okay, we see him now.
It becomes actually important now. So you can tell the difference between a red and a blue versus like a yellow and a green, for example. There's not a lot you can really do with this knowledge, but it's more the matter that it's very unorthodox to use your lasers to plan out anything specific in this stage. And all the enemies in the game pretty much return at this point to make an appearance one more time before the end. Except the bosses.
This is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Every time that I was like getting to a different stage, it was like impressing me each time I saw something different like this.
Yeah.
Like I was not expecting anything like this after playing like Terra and Shaw and expecting like, you know, similar like features from X6800 games. This was just, I can't compare this to anything really.
Yo, those blocks! The laser blocks! Godlike! That was good. Ah!
That orb is like the MVP.
I think the nicest thing about this stage is that you don't have to worry about those crystal enemies from stage 6 at all. Because if they did that at this point, that'd be kind of cheap. Unless the crystal enemies retain their specific color or something. XM6 does sound like the emulator that I use for this game. I'm pretty sure that's the right one. People are talking about it right now. And even though I'm at the stage of like, I'm on last hit at this point, actually. Even though this is like later than stage 5 and 6, this stage isn't actually as hard as the previous ones. It's just the final hurrah before like the end of the game.
Looks like you really get it. You really got a knack for blocking lasers with the orb.
Yeah, at this point, you kind of like, you have to have gotten that down at this point.
Oh,
And,
that was sick.
Like, all those spinner enemies, like, it's really tricky to get all of them right, but I think on this part I didn't mess any of them up. There was one back there, like 3 back or so, that I was like very close to getting hit by.
So what's the story of this game? it's like so clearly just Eschatos style almost.
I mean, Eschatos probably has more of a story than this one. Like,
yeah. Is the last boss face guy like Eschatos? Just like fucking face. We'll have to see.
Honestly, with like the background, the way the colors work, and like how everything plays out, it kind of reminds me of like this, like some kind of mad dream or something. In a way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think I think I know what you mean. Well, it's really trippy, that's for sure, right now, with all the rainbow colors. And look at this.
Yeah, suddenly we're a pentagram. Now we're a square.
God.
Then you keep changing colors. Scroll to add it. Red.
Yeah, this part's not really hard. It's just a matter of keeping your cool and being patient. Like, these enemies are not going to die quickly. But just keep calm, basically.
You're so far in now, yeah.
Yeah, they don't shoot fast bullets. You just have to treat those fast bullets around you like walls you can't pass through, obviously.
Jeez.
Yeah, cool moment.
Definitely. Oh man.
Just keep going.
Slow down.
Fruity Pebbles, motherfuckers.
I love how the orb hung in the air for like a solid 3 seconds before it came down. They're just dropping like crazy in this part too.
Oh. Snakes.
Yeah, the search lasers are probably not my favorite part of this stage because they're deceiving enough to look like blues at first, but because you can't tell what color they are, they suddenly redirect and start searching on you. Yeah, the hands part I don't really know what to do about either. Or the claws, whatever you want to refer to them as. When all of them come out like that, I never had an answer for that part. So I just kind of take the hit and I'm like, okay. Shouldn't be too far off from the boss at this point in this stage. In fact, I think it's right after this enemy. If I recall correctly. Yeah, so it should be after this. So I just want to take a quick moment for to think about before this boss comes on screen. Let's just take a moment of silence to think about what it might be and what it sounds like before it comes on screen. And the first other game that comes to mind when it comes running onto the screen. So I'll just give you a moment.
Treasure.
The game's biggest lie is that we've been in a hurry this whole time.
Oh shit.
So the first thing that came to my mind, and I saw this, was Radiant Silvergun. Remember how Radiant Silvergun, the final boss has those things where it's on all sides of the screen?
Giga or whatever.
Yeah, like a Running Man kind of boss.
Yeah, I was thinking of Gunstar Heroes, and someone like Akime mentioned Seven Force from Gunstar Heroes.
Oh.
There's a running enemy. And you did, yeah, and you mentioned earlier that this guy may have worked with Treasure.
So one rumor I've heard was that he made this game and later he was able to use this as part of like a resume of sorts to get his foot into the door at Treasure.
Man.
Which makes me wonder, did he have a part in the reason that final boss had a similar kind of gimmick as this one?
Oh man. I love it. This is awesome.
Yeah. So this boss isn't very hard, but at the same time, when I first saw it, I was like, what is happening?
There's nothing like this in the game until now.
Yeah, exactly. And he's hurtling over stuff, and it's becoming debris for you to dodge as well.
I think it's a
and
character. It's him. The Stickman.
Yeah.
Stickman Crystal Head. Warning, Stickman Crystal Man approaching.
Terra allegedly went to his local library at school and looked up photos of track runners and Olympian photos to make this boss.
Good stuff. This is really impressive.
That's good. Yeah. That's honestly like really cool now thinking about that. I didn't honestly notice the hurdling effect until I started watching this right now once again. The way he like specifically hurdles over these walls that come on the right side of the screen. Some of them, anyways.
Missed that. Yeah, I missed that one. he's kind of busy.
I did not know that until like we watched this just now.
That's really cool.
So that marks the destruction of the 7th boss and the introduction of this game's final ultimate gimmick.
Oh god, it's not the end. It's not the end.
Yeah, one more stage left.
Rip.
So the game, once this happens and gives a negative effect of sorts, takes away any spare lives you have, and you have to beat the stage on one go.
Oh shit.
You can get a shield back if you're lacking a shield, but you can't get a 1-up on this stage. So you only have one life to do this stage.
Holy hell. And breaking the 4th wall and shit. Damn.
Yeah. So this acts as a credit screen before the final boss as well. And if you do game over here, it does differentiate between a stage 8 score and an all end score. It's not like Blazing Star, where if you die on stage 7, it still says all on the high score screen for some reason.
Huh.
Oh shit! Special thanks, AstralAlgorithm there.
AstralAlgorithm.
That's
holy.
sweet.
Wow.
Nice.
Sick.
Hey.
Wow. Yeah.
That's godlike.
So at the beginning of this fight, I was extremely scared and just tried something weird about fighting on its side. But I got extremely scared when I magically missed an attack, and I kind of came to my senses and realized that, no, I can't do this. I have to fight it from the front. I can't avoid this. Like, I'm scared, but there's no other way to do this. And then I proceeded to basically go Ultra Instinct on this boss.
Well, it looked like a laser hit you.
Yeah, the magical part is that it didn't. Because it will show you without your force field on this stage if you get hit.
Was this your first time to the last boss, or had you been here a few times? How many times had you been here?
I had only been here like twice.
Oh man.
Through when I was credit feeding before.
Oh, okay.
So I had never formally beaten the boss before this.
Fun.
Oh,
you broke off his arm. Oh, man.
yeah. You have to break his arms to unleash his true form. And then at that point, you better not mess up.
Oh man. Where you said you're in Ultra Instinct mode. No, that's it.
I didn't get hit through any of that. Surprisingly.
Yeah, there was that one laser that looked like it went right through you. At the
I was,
beginning.
yeah, like looking at how I was like, I'm really amazed that I did.
But you can, in fact, get hit there.
Yeah, you can game over in that whole thing and get a stage 8 score.
Wow, yeah, that was super awesome.
Yeah, very impressive.
Well, yeah, that was
Victory music.
really fun game to play, and like, yeah, Kaizuru telling me to play this was definitely a good idea.
Shout outs.
Yeah. Also, shout outs to Terra for giving us the rebuild edition in the first place.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, that was awesome to see. Yeah, congrats on that clear, even though it did happen a while ago, but that was really sick. Such an endurance run.
Yeah, no kidding. Like stage 5 onwards is like stressful.
Yeah, that was definitely stressful watching that.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Well, I don't know if there's any final thoughts here. That was really sick, and people should try it out. And all that.
Yeah.
It is available.
What was it? I think it's called an XM6 emulator.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think that's the one. And I know sometimes setting up, I think it's like it's kind of like a robust, like, because there's so much shit you can do with the X68K in terms of like modules and shit to make the games run faster or slower and stuff. So, did you have to do any tinkering when you set up the emulator? In particular, do you remember?
No, when I got the I'm trying to think really hard about it, but for the most part, it was a pretty quick plug-in play sort of deal where I got the right file, booted from the right source, and then it played pretty much smoothly. The only thing I I wasn't aware of at the time was adjusting the music or the sound effects volume.
I see.
So I didn't know you could do that. So yeah. But for the most part, I remember it wasn't really too much of an ordeal to set it up and get it running. The only issue is that I played on a controller, like a 360 D-pad, so it wasn't an issue for me to play. But Kaizuru couldn't figure out how to get it to work with the keyboard. But yeah. I'm sure that there's a way to fix that, but I can't guarantee anything with the keyboard, I guess.
Let's just go controller.
Yeah, if you use a controller, then like you're lucky, or like a joystick, maybe. Like if you use a keyboard, I don't know. I can't really guarantee like this will work correctly if you have a keyboard or not. But there has to be, because wasn't the X68K based on didn't it use a keyboard?
Yeah, it did use a keyboard, and there's like 2-button joystick.
Yeah, so no, there's got to be a way. You could probably use like joy to key or something. There's got to be a way to do it.
For sure.
I know in other games people have done stuff like that, so maybe it's just a matter of testing out different setups and seeing which one works and see if you can get that to work.
Yeah. I didn't have many problems since I was able to just jump in and play right away, but not everyone else was able to jump in right away. So
interesting.
Yeah.
In any case, this is definitely a game I want to try out for myself.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I had no idea, like just from playing like from playing 5 minutes of it that I have before, like there's no way I could have expected that the game would have turned out like that.
Oh yeah, like I don't think any of us knew.
It's like the game evolved as you played it.
Right. I don't think any of us knew what was going to happen in the second half of this game, because when you play the first half, it's fairly like routine in a way, but then like the second half is just one insane thing after another.
Yeah.
And no, not a lot of shmups do anything like that, where it kind of flips your world and your knowing of how the game works upside down like that, just for one stage. Yeah, like stage 6, just stage 6 has the crystal enemies. It's just stage 7's rainbow colored. And then like stage 8 having that negative filter. It was like, what?
That was cool.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh man. Sweet stuff. Yeah, glad we could cover this game, and it was really cool to see and talk about. Thanks for coming on, Emuser.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me again as usual.
Always great to have you. And man, what an awesome game. Definitely a hidden gem with gems inside of it.
Yeah, this is like this is definitely one of the most buried gems out there. Because, I mean, hell, it took 15 years before this game really surfaced. Like, it just came out in such a strange circumstance that there wasn't a lot of coverage on it until years later, once the internet took off.
How does it feel to be as far as you know, the only person to have cleared the game?
It does feel really good. Like, I've always liked to show off shmups where there's not like enough footage for it, just because of like, sort of like with emulation, how people want to archive everything for like the future. And for me, it's kind of like, what if no one ever plays this game? What if no one ever takes the time to really beat this game all the way through? Like, will we ever see like someone do it?
And that's like a true form of appreciation.
It's
in a way.
It was just kind of like a, I have to do this sort of thing.
I'm sure it must have been really fun.
Yeah, it was pretty badass to get that feeling where I was like, yeah, I'm pretty much the first person to do this.
Very cool. Yeah, so definitely we'll have a link to the video with the annotations, because you did annotate the this replay on YouTube with the annotations and whatnot. We'll have a link to that, and yeah, feel free to check out Emuser's other videos on shmups and stuff. You might find some other stuff you haven't heard of, or maybe you've heard of or didn't realize how cool they are, or something like that.
Yeah, most of my videos are like, well, recently I haven't really been uploading shmups, but I've uploaded a bunch of like random shmups with like that are less covered, or like maybe have some kind of gimmick that was not exposed before.
Yeah.
But just don't watch my Asura and Asura video. Like, it's really bad.
That's they're gonna go ahead and watch it now.
Like, I mean, if you need a good sleep aid, then yeah, go for it. But I uploaded that as a joke for some reason. I don't remember who. Maybe it was Trap. Or I think, yeah, Asura. Let me put it this way: I beat that game, but I've never shot a shot. I've never fired a single shot in that game.
The fuck?
Like, occasionally I'll upload weird stuff like that. But yeah, if you need a sleep aid, then yeah, it's a good video.
Yeah, when's the pacifist run of this game?
Oh god!
It's time every boss.
It's never happening.
All lasers blocked. That'd have to be a task. Alright, well, that's gonna wrap it up for episode 143, Illumination Laser 6 stuff. On SCG Weekly episode 143, I just said that. But yeah. Take care, everyone. Until next time. We're out of here.
Yep.
Later, everybody.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yep, thanks for watching. All right. We can't